Killing animals for meat is morally wrong. 10 billion animals are killed every year. 97% of the animals that are killed are on farms. In order to understand this, one must understand the selfish benefits of not eating meat, flawed arguments in favor of it, the mental traits of animals and factory farms. So let us first get to the benefits. Not eating meat can benefit you directly and indirectly. It can help combat disease. Many of the world's most major diseases have been started by the overproduction of animals, and according to Last Chance for Animals, that the cramped and dirty conditions in factory farms help breed diseases which make their way to humans, and the antibiotics used also make their way to humans. It helps to combat overpopulation, according to Crash Course Ecology by Hank Green, that vegans and vegetarians actually use up less of the Earth's carrying capacity, and the reason for this is because plants simply require land and water, whereas meat requires land, water, and plants, and sometimes the meat of other animals. It can combat pollution. The chemicals used in the leather industry make their way into the water and the air, and also the waste products that the animals have to sleep in on factory farms also make their way into the water supplies. And also, when we are not straining the resources of the earth, this helps to combat global warming. Now, not all vegan and vegetarian diets are the same. Vegan and vegetarianism can encompass many different types of diets. For example, soda and French fries are technically vegan, but according to WebMD, that if done correctly, that vegetarianism can be one of the healthiest ways to eat. Vegetarianism can be associated with lower cholesterol, blood pressure, hypertension, lower rates of heart disease, and cancer. Now, the idea of saving animals is usually met with a general feeling of apathy. However, when combined with your life's work, a worthwhile cause can actually help you to move forward with a sense of purpose and can help you to have a purpose in your life. So, let us next talk about the flawed arguments in favor of eating meat. There are several flawed arguments. The first is the idea that animals are less intelligent. However, it doesn't matter that animals are less intelligent since they are conscious, feeling beings with emotions that can feel pain. There's the religious argument. However, religion has been used to justify homophobia, racism, genocide, sexism, and slavery, and the point of morality is to prevent the undue suffering of other people. There's the idea that it's natural. However, many of the greatest human accomplishments have been subverting the natural world, and many things in the natural world are actually horrifying. So just because something is natural, that doesn't make it good. There's the idea of tradition. However, things that we have been doing for thousands of years, we have subverted, such as slavery and sexism. There is the idea that you need to eat meat for the sake of nutrition. However, humans can create all of their own amino acids by eating plants, and B12 can be received from eggs and from milk, and if you don't eat eggs and milk, that you can actually take them via supplements and have them infused in foods such as Kellogg's cereal. There is the idea of animal overpopulation, but actually the reason why there are so many animals is because we breed them out of control in order to keep up with the demand for meat. If people quit eating meat, there's a good chance that if we didn't actively work to preserve the numbers of animals, that the animal species would actually go extinct. Now, there's this idea that animals are meant to be eaten, but actually animals simply exist. They don't have a specific purpose. Things only have the purpose you give them. And both humans and animals are technically made of meat. There's the idea of humane killing. However, just because you kill an animal nicely, that doesn't mean you're not shortening its life. And due to the extremely high demand for meat, this sound from the note card bothered me. Okay. Due to the extremely high demand for meat and overproduction and the amount of animals, corporate greed, and a lack of regulations, that it's almost impossible nowadays to have good conditions on farms, especially when it comes to factory farms. Then there is the tragedy of the commons, and basically what this idea and how it applies here is that everybody else is eating meat, so it won't make a difference whether I eat it or not. However, it encompasses the idea that, oh, the animals are already dead. However, when you buy meat products, that you actually increase the demand for it. So if everybody quit eating meat, that they would no longer have a reason to kill the animals and to sell the meat. So next, let us move on to the mental traits of animals. Now, it can be difficult to define intelligence in animals, since that intelligence can encompass many different things. It can be difficult to compare the animals or to put them on a meat spectrum. According to the book Animalkind by Ingrid Newkirk, that there are several mental traits that are common to many types of animals. The first being navigation. Animals use things to navigate, such as a sense of smell, echolocation, the position of the sun and the stars in the sky. They use the Earth's magnetic field and other things. Now, there's the idea of communication. Dogs can actually recognize over 200 words. They can process words and tones in separate areas of the brain, in the same areas of the brain that humans can. Animals often use body language, sound, social hierarchy, and in order to communicate. Animals like chickens and pigs and wolves do this. Dolphins actually use complex strings of sound which are so high-pitched that we need special equipment in order to hear them. And we've actually been able to train these dolphins to use these sounds to request items, and then we use the sounds to request that they bring the items back. So there's the idea of love. They've done many experiments, and for a while they've been unable to tell whether animals can legitimately be altruistic or if they're just nervous. For example, that rats will get nervous when they see other rats in pain because they can visualize the rat's pain, or rats that pull levers for food will not pull the levers if it's electrically shocking another rat. They will refuse to do so. There was a cow that gave birth to a calf, but the farmers that were raising the cow noticed that the cow's milk wasn't filling up with udders. The cow's udders wasn't filling up with milk. This was a special cow that was allowed to roam around in the pasture more than usual. So what they found out was happening is that the cow had actually given birth to twins, and in the fear that one of her babies was going to be taken away from her, that she took one of her twins to the pasture and hid it, and was secretly feeding her baby. Now here is a picture of two elephants intertwining their trunks, and the trunks have sensitive nerve endings which they use to show affection. So dogs are proven to feel grief when their owners die. Chimpanzees are shown feeling grief when their family members die. So another mental trait is play. Gorillas actually have been seen in the wild playing tag. Now, sometimes many animals play though, and sometimes that play doesn't always have an apparent use. It's been speculated that it's used to help train survival skills. It also can help improve your brain connections. It also helps animals to improve their brain connections. It helps with their ability to learn. And it helps them to navigate their social hierarchies. However, sometimes play can make the animals vulnerable, like meerkats going out into the sun and exposing themselves to predators when they're playing. Sometimes animals injure themselves. In my opinion, I don't think play came directly from evolution. I think that the play is a side effect of something else that evolved. So next, let us talk about factory farming. Animals are often cramped into very small spaces where they're forced to sleep in their own feces, they breathe ammonia, and the cages very badly injure them. They have the term free range, but due to our lackluster laws, that regulations on what does and doesn't qualify for free range are not very good. If the animals go outside at all during their lives, which animals often don't, that even if they're crammed into small spaces, it's still considered free range. Veal calves actually spend their entire lives chained inside of crates, and they're purposefully not fed iron or water, which keeps their meat soft. Some calves are killed at 16 weeks old, while other calves are only killed at a few days old. Animals often have their ears, their beaks, their toes, their hides, and their tails cut off without anesthesia. Animals are often castrated and without anesthesia. A lot of times animals are slaughtered improperly, that they will not be killed when they are supposed to, so they're boiled alive. Sometimes they'll fall off the conveyor belt. Other times they won't be knocked out, so they'll be hanging unconscious. The animals often have a lot of diseases in their udders and their lungs. They have diseases like parvovirus. There were a lot of diseases to name. They have diseases like cholera. They have diseases like dysentery on these farms. Chickens are constantly exposed to light so that they can lay lots and lots of eggs, and then when they can no longer lay eggs, that they're kept in the dark, and then they're not given food and water, which forces their body into another laying cycle. Cows are milked 10 times more than they would be in the wild, which causes their udders to be infected. So, in conclusion, killing animals for food is morally wrong. Remember the selfish benefits for not eating meat, the flawed arguments in favor thereof, the mental traits of animals, and the things that happen on factory farms. Now, the problem may seem very massive and unstoppable and dark and gloomy, but there are things you can do. You can vote for better legislation. People such as Senator Cory Booker are actually trying to help regulate factory farms, which is something that people should support, even if they're not very into animal rights. It's actually, and he's actually correct that we need to do something about that. You can donate money. You can support animal rights groups. You can be informed. You can inform others, and you can also go vegan or vegetarian. So there was a lot I couldn't fully cover to its full extent, particularly factory farming. If you want to learn more, you can check out the article for the Last Chance on the Last Chance for Animals website, which you can find in the Work Cited page. Also, please consider watching the Crash Course Ecology videos hosted by Hank Green and checking out Animalkind by Ingrid Newkirk on Audible. The following is a quote from Robert Louis Stevenson, the author of The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in Treasure Island. Nothing more strongly arouses our disgust than cannibalism, yet we make the same impression on Buddhists and vegetarians, for we feed on babies, though not our own,